Wednesday, Capitol Hill. A routine budget hearing turned into one of the most talked about exchanges of the year. Secretary of State Marco Rubio sat in front of the House Foreign Affairs Committee to defend the State Department's 2027 budget request. That's not what people are talking about today. What they're talking about is three videos. Three separate clips played one after another, showing President Trump appearing to fall asleep at official events, and a congressman who says the Secretary of State lied to his face about it. I watched the full hearing. I went through the footage frame by frame. Here's exactly what happened, in order, and why it's bigger than one awkward moment on C-SPAN. Marco Rubio isn't just Secretary of State right now. He's also serving as National Security Advisor, one of the most concentrated power positions in modern Washington. When he testifies, it's not routine. It's scrutinized. Ted Lieu is a Democrat from California, a member of the House Foreign Affairs Committee, and someone who's built a reputation for methodical, prosecutor-style questioning. He used to be a JAG officer. That matters. His questioning style shows it. Wednesday's hearing was supposed to be about State Department funding. It became something else entirely. Here's how it played out. Lieu opened by asking Rubio directly, had he been in more than one meeting where President Trump fell asleep? Rubio's answer was immediate and flat. That's false. He said he'd never seen the president fall asleep. Then he pivoted, saying Trump barely sleeps at all, joking that the president calls him at 2 and 5 in the morning. That answer became the setup for everything that followed. Lieu told Rubio he was about to see a video that would show he'd just lied to Congress. Then he played it. The clip came from a cabinet meeting held in December. Trump can be seen with his eyes closed for an extended stretch, while officials, including Rubio, gave updates around the table. Rubio's reaction was audible. "Oh my God," he said when the footage started. After it played, he pushed back again, insisting that wasn't sleeping and that he still hadn't personally witnessed it happen. That's where things escalated. Lieu didn't stop. He played a second clip, this one from a cabinet meeting last month. In this video, Trump appears to have his eyes closed for an extended period while Rubio himself is mid-sentence, briefing the room on the war in Iran. Lieu's line here became the moment that went viral. "You are literally talking about issues of war and peace, and Donald Trump is sleeping right next to you." Then he asked the follow-up that raised the stakes considerably. Had Rubio been in classified meetings where the president had trouble staying awake? The final clip wasn't from inside a government building at all. It came from a French news broadcast, France 24, covering the Memorial Day ceremony at Arlington National Cemetery. In that footage, Trump's eyes appear closed while Secretary of War Pete Hegseth is speaking. Lieu's point with this one was different from the first two. He wasn't just arguing Rubio had misled Congress. He was arguing this had become an international story. Foreign outlets were already covering it. That, according to Lieu, was doing damage to how the country is perceived abroad. Rubio didn't back down. He called Lieu's questioning absurd. He pointed to the previous administration, referencing what he described as a cognitively impaired president in the White House, without naming Joe Biden directly, and used that comparison to argue his own defense of Trump's fitness was consistent. Lieu's response to that pushback was blunt. "Just keep lying, Secretary Rubio. Just keep lying." That line, more than almost anything else from the hearing, is what's circulating across social media right now. Here's the part that's easy to miss if you only watch the clip going around online. This isn't really a story about whether a 79-year-old man closed his eyes during a long meeting. On its own, that's not a scandal. People get tired. Meetings run long. The actual story is about testimony. Rubio was asked a direct question, under oath, in a congressional hearing, and he gave an answer that video appears to contradict. Whether that rises to a legal or political problem depends on interpretation, but the mechanics are simple. A sworn official said one thing, and the public record shows something that looks different. That's why Lieu kept repeating the word lying instead of wrong or mistaken. In a congressional hearing, that distinction is deliberate. To be fair to Rubio, there's a real argument here worth taking seriously. Nobody can definitively prove someone was fully asleep from a few seconds of video where their eyes are closed. Public officials close their eyes during long briefings all the time, for a lot of reasons that aren't sleep. Rubio's defense that the footage doesn't prove what Lieu claims it proves isn't an unreasonable position on its face, There's also the political framing to consider. Lieu is a Democrat. This hearing happened in a charged environment where Trump's age and stamina have already been a running political storyline for years, in both directions. Republicans have spent years making the same argument about Biden. Democrats are now making a version of it about Trump. Critics on the right have pointed that out directly, calling the hearing a political stunt rather than a genuine oversight moment. Both things can be true at once. The video is real. The interpretation of what it proves is where reasonable people can disagree. The White House didn't stay quiet. Spokeswoman Abigail Jackson pushed back on the characterization directly, defending the president's schedule and stamina, and framing the hearing as political theater rather than legitimate oversight. That's the administration's official position. The videos don't show what Democrats say they show, and the entire exchange was designed for a viral clip rather than substantive questioning. The hearing ended without any real resolution, which is typical. Nobody was charged with anything. No formal findings came out of it. What did come out of it is a level of public attention most State Department budget hearings never get. Clips are spreading fast. Foreign outlets that were already covering Trump's public appearances are now covering the congressional exchange about those appearances, which keeps the story circulating internationally. Exactly the outcome Lieu said he was worried about in the first place. Expect this to come up again. Committee members from both parties know a moment like this doesn't disappear after one news cycle. If there's a next hearing where Rubio testifies, expect this exact exchange to be the first thing brought back up. Strip away the politics for a second, and here's what actually happened. A sitting Secretary of State was shown video evidence that appeared to contradict his own sworn answer in real time during a congressional hearing. That's not a small moment, regardless of which side of the aisle you're on. Whether you see this as a serious health story about the president or a political ambush against his Secretary of State, the footage is public, the exchange is on the record, and it's not going away quietly. We'll keep tracking this one as it develops. If you want to stay ahead of the curve on the biggest political showdowns, national security updates, and breaking news out of Washington, make sure to smash that like button, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications. You do not want to miss our next deep dive. Thanks for watching, stay vigilant, and we will see you on the next one.